Welcome to the deep dive. Today we are jumping back into prehistory.
Yeah, way back.
We're focusing on a really interesting little dinosaur, Alnashetri
Right.
We've basically got the scientific rundown here, distilled from, the published research.
A compilation of what we know so far.
Exactly. And our mission really is to unpack what makes Alnashetri unique, where it popped up in Argentina, and why paleontologists find it so interesting.
And we're talking late Cretaceous period here, right? Specifically the Cenomanian stage.
Yeah, roughly 97 million years ago, an ancient world.
Totally different from today. In what's now Argentina. It's pretty wild to think about.
Absolutely. And the name Alnashetri, it gives us a clue right off the bat.
It does, yeah. Slender thighs in the Tehuelche language.
Which points directly to the fossils they found. And the second part, Theropod.
That's a nice nod, actually. It honors the village, Theropod, because the locals really helped out during the field work.
Oh, that's cool. Shows how important that local connection can be for discoveries. Okay, so these slender thighs, where exactly did they turn up?
All right, so the main specimen, the one everything's based on the holotype, it's cataloged as MPCA 477.
Gotcha.
And it's not the whole dinosaur, it's key parts of the hind limbs. Crucially, they were found articulated, meaning still connected.
From one single animal.
Yep, from one individual. We're talking a partial left femur, that's the thigh bone, then the lower ends of both tibia.
The main lower leg bone.
Right, and the right fibula, that thinner bone alongside it. Also some ankle bones, the tarsals from both sides.
Okay.
And a nearly complete right metatarsus, that's the long bones in the foot before the toes, plus bits of the left foot bones and part of a toe bone from the third digit.
So a really decent look at the legs and feet. Makes sense with the name.
Exactly. A lot of information packed into those specific bones.
And the location, not just anywhere in Argentina, I assume.
No, very specific. It's from a spot called Hoyada de los Esfenodontes.
That's a mouthful?
It is. It's a sublocality within the larger La Buitrera fossil area. And that's about 30 kilometers south of El Chacon in Rio Negro province.
Okay, La Buitrera, that rings a bell. Known for other finds, right?
Oh, definitely. Yeah. That specific spot is geologically important, too. The fossils came from the upper layers of the Candeleros Formation.
Part of the Rio Lime subgroup.
You got it. Dating to that Cenomanian-Turonian time frame we mentioned, right near the boundary with the overlying Winkle Formation. So it captures a specific moment in time.
And Alnashetri wasn't living there alone, I take it. You mentioned La Buitrera's reputation.
Not at all. It was a bustling place, paleontologically speaking. They've found Prehistoric, this large rhynchocephalian.
Like an ancient, oversized Tuatara relative.
Pretty much. And Najash, a really early snake that, get this, still had hind limbs.
Wow. Seriously.
Yeah. Plus Arabisuchus, a type of land-dwelling croc relative.
Yeah.
And relevant here, another small theropod, breech raptor.
Ah, okay. So another small meat eater in the same place.
Exactly. A dromaeosaurid related to raptors. Plus they found mammals, pterosaurs. It gives you this amazing snapshot of the whole ecosystem.
It really does paint a picture. Okay, back to Alnashetri itself. It's a coelurosaur. What does that tell us broadly?
Right. Coelurosauria is a huge group of theropods, typically more lightly built, often feathered, and it includes the ancestors of birds. Alnashetri is a non-avian coelurosaur.
Meaning related to birds, but not a direct bird ancestor itself.
Precisely. And what makes it stand out are some very specific features on its bones, particularly the leg bones we have.
Like what?
Okay, one key thing is this low ridge on the bottom end of the tibia. It sits in a particular spot that seems to define how the ankle bone, the astragalus, fit against it, and the fibula. And this ridge extends a bit further up the shaft than you see in some others.
Interesting. So a subtle detail in the ankle joint mechanics, maybe?
Could be. It might relate to how it moved, its agility, perhaps. It's one of those unique identifiers.
Were there others?
Yes, on the toe bones. Specifically phalanges 3-2 and 3-3, so the second and third bones of the third toe.
Okay.
They have these small notches extending down from where ligaments would attach near the joints. Little details, but distinct.
And these features are enough to tell it apart from Buitraptor, even though they lived together.
Yeah, quite clearly, according to the descriptions. It shows how even small variations in anatomy are really important for differentiating species, especially when you only have partial remains.
It's amazing what they can figure out from just those clues. Okay, so the big question, where does it fit in the dinosaur family tree? We know it's a coelurosaur.
Right, but which branch? And that's been a bit of a developing story, because the first fossils were just those hind limbs. pinpointing its exact group wasn't immediately obvious.
Makes sense.
The initial phylogenetic analysis, that's the study of evolutionary relationships, placed it within Alvarezoroidea.
Alvarezoroidea. What kind of dinosaurs are those?
They're a really interesting group, often small, slender limbs, which fits Alnashetri. And many later forms had these incredibly weird, specialized hands, sometimes with just one huge claw.
Huh. For digging, maybe? Termites?
That's the leading theory, yeah. Insectivores. Anyway, the first study put Alnashetri as a basal member.
Basal meaning, like an early offshoot.
Yeah, closer to the root of that particular group. It seemed to sit in a pletobastion, sort of an unresolved branching point, with other early alvarezsaurids from the same region, the New Keene Basin.
And that initial placement relied heavily on the ankle bones.
Exactly. Those ankle features showed similarities to other early alvarezsaurids, but, relying heavily on one part of the skeleton can sometimes
skew the picture a bit.
Potentially, yeah. You're trying to build the whole family tree from just, say, the foot.
Right. So things have changed. You mentioned more recent research.
There was a study in 2024 by Mezzo and colleagues. They took another look.
Yeah.
Their analysis still keeps Alnashetri within the broader group, Alvarezsauria, but they place it even more basally.
Even earlier on the family tree.
Sort of. They found it branched off after some really early forms from Asia, like Schunicus and Banicus, but, and this is key, before the main group called Alvarezsauridae diversified.
Ah, okay, so it's like an earlier cousin to the main Alvarezsauridae family, but definitely part of the extended Alvarezsaur clan.
That's a good way to put it. It sits just outside that core Alvarezsauridae group in their analysis.
That definitely changes things, thinking how that whole lineage evolved.
It does. It refines our picture of the early steps in Alvarezsaur evolution. And just for context, that initial study compared it to others like Alvarezsaurus, Bonapartenicus, Patagonicus.
And some of those really derived ones like Meninicus and Shuvuia.
Exactly. And Lenahenicus, the one with the single finger. So placing Alnashetri more carefully helps sort out the relationships between all these fascinating forms.
It's like finding an older photo that suddenly makes the family resemblance clearer. Let's circle back to the name for a sec, the etymology.
Right, Alnashetri, from the Gunanicuna language.
Spoken by the Tehuelche people of Patagonia.
Yep. And slender thighs is just a direct description of those long, gracile leg bones they found. It's a fitting name, anatomically.
And culturally significant, too, using the indigenous language.
Absolutely. And then the species name, Ceropoliciensis.
That's for the village, Ceropolicia.
Exactly, acknowledging their help. Apparently, they gave a lot of support to the paleontologists after the site was first found back in '99. Fieldwork often relies hugely on that kind of local collaboration.
So the name itself tells a story about the dinosaur's anatomy and the human effort behind its discovery.
It really does. Science isn't done in a vacuum.
Well, as we wrap up this deep dive on Alnashetri, what are the key points for people to take away?
I'd say.
Yeah.
Remember, it is a small, slender-legged dinosaur from Late Cretaceous, Argentina, about 97 million years ago.
Known mainly from those unique hind limb bones.
Right, with those distinct features on the tibia and toes. Its exact spot on the Alvarezsaur family tree is still being fine-tuned, but recent work suggests it's an early member of the broader group, just outside the main Alvarezsauridae family.
And don't forget the location, La Buitrera.
Definitely not. A real hotspot for fossils, showing Alnashetri lived alongside snakes with legs, land crocs, other small dinosaurs, a whole community.
Gives you such a richer picture than just thinking about one dinosaur in isolation.
Totally. Every find adds a piece to understanding that ancient world. Even fragmentary fossils like Alnashetri's legs tell a crucial part of the story.
So thinking about that evolving placement, it really makes you wonder, doesn't it? What other secrets about the early days of the Alvarezsaurs might still be locked away in those Argentinian rocks? What else could future finds reveal?
Exactly. It's a fascinating puzzle still unfolding.
A great place to leave it. Thanks for diving into this with me.